Okay, I think we're set, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you very much, Shane. I will call regular town board meeting number 1 of 2021 to order and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilman Madigan,
Here.
Councilwoman Bainey,
Here.
Councilman Marston,
Here.
Councilman Tagati,
Here.
Supervisor Whitney.
Here. Tonight, the invocation is given by Pastor Matthew File from the Cornerstone Church, and the pledge will be led by Councilman Michael Madigan. Please rise.
Before I pray, I'd like to read 2 verses from Isaiah. It said, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." Let's pray. Father God, as we open this meeting up today, as this year is opened, Lord, it's so easy for us to want to leave the past behind, this past year. Lord, let us not let it happen in vain, though. Let us press on moving forward, but also remembering the valuable lessons of how life is precious and never take anything for granted. God, as we press forward for another year here on Grand Island, we ask for your presence, your safety, your protection upon each and every resident, every person working here or passing through here. We ask for your presence, your peace, just to be in the hearts and minds of every person of Grand Island, Lord. I ask for your wisdom, your spirit to be upon our leaders, upon your servants, Father, those who keep this town, this government running day to day, those working in the streets and sanitations, those who are working in the park and recreation department, Lord. Ask for your spirit, your protection to be upon them. And let us be a people who are following you with everything, Father. Let us trust be in you. You say you make a way in the wilderness. When in the wilderness, we don't see what's ahead of us. We can't see a path, Lord. We know you will make a path for us. We also know that you can put a stream in the desert, Father, what we need. And we just ask for your wisdom, your presence. In all in the precious name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
brings us to the portion of the agenda and public comments on agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak will be admitted to speak. Please hold your comments to 3 minutes or less, please.
Other than the public hearing. Other than the public hearing.
Except with the exception of the public hearing. Thank you.
Mr. Riley.
Tom Thompson, we received a request that you wish to speak tonight. Do you still wish to speak on the public during the public hearing? You have your 3 minutes, sir.
Okay,
Hey, this is.
I apologize. I thought you were on the public hearing.
No,
Mistake.
this is the public comments on agenda items only, other than the public hearing.
Okay, my mistake. Is there anyone who wishes?
Ms. Rahal responded.
Ms. Rahal?
Ms. Rahal, would you like to speak on the public hearing or on an agenda item?
On the agenda item?
Okay, you have the floor.
Well, I'm sorry. As far as you mean the public hearing for the solar piece?
Yeah, if you'd wish to speak on that, we'll do that during the public hearing rather than now.
Yeah, I'll speak on that then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm trying to.
Is there anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item other than the public hearing? Please raise your hand or unmute.
Public hearing on the solar agenda.
can you say that?
This is J.R. Trippy.
Mr. Trippy, would you like to speak on the?
I'd like to speak on the moratorium for the solar. Is that
That's-
now or is
John,
that
that's going to
later?
be during the public hearing.
Okay, then I'd like to wait, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm not seeing anyone for agenda items, John.
Okay, we will consider that portion of the meeting closed. That brings us to the public hearing on local law intro number 14 of 2020, moratorium on solar projects. Anyone wishing to speak on this? We'll just asking that you please hold your comments to 3 minutes or less.
I tried to. I copied what I had. Did you? Can I speak now?
Give us one moment.
Do you have a list?
Yes. We have a list for people to speak during the public hearing. We're just getting some information to a resident that needed it. Our first person to speak on to the public hearing now, John? Yeah, is Mr. Tom Thompson. Apologize for the delay.
Oh.
You have 3 minutes, sir.
That's okay. The reason I am here is to state my dismay at how we've had a solar law in effect here in Grand Island for the last, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 4 years. And it seems as if all of a sudden we need to change things when we're right in the middle of of doing solar projects here on Grand Island. I think as far as what's going on with me, I've got a project scheduled for my back section of 25 acres that will amount to 3 to 5 megawatts of power fed directly into the system right here on the back of my property. It's not something that would be obvious to anybody. There wouldn't be anything that anybody could see. And it was all ready to go. And now all of a sudden it's been or will be stopped. Financially, this hurts me because of the amount of time that I've put into it over the last year and a half, and also the project people who are presently watching this. And that's pretty much all I've got to say, but I'd like to see this law set to the side and reviewed at some later date. But right now, I think there's too many projects. They need to get done. They'll contribute to the 2035 green initiative that they want to have 70% of the power generated in New York State from green sources. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Next up, Nicole Gerber. Do you still wish to speak?
They might.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Nicole.
We can hear
Yes,
you,
we can.
yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry about that. I was trying to unmute. I'm speaking tonight in support of the proposed local law to enact a moratorium on solar projects. Taking the time to perform a comprehensive assessment of island specifics such as locations of the solar projects, environmental and land priorities and protections, and especially the need for an updated solar law that better protects residents, neighborhoods, wildlife, and habitats is a very positive move for the Grand Island community. The town of Lewiston is actually one of many local West New York municipalities who have enacted a solar project moratoria to work on their laws and to update the processes and protections. For example, in Lewiston's updated solar law, enhanced protections were put in place for wildlife, habitats, migratory birds. Requirements were put in place for the use of Western New York native vegetation, and there are neighborhood protections of enhanced fully enclosed screening, increased setbacks, and transmission lines and wiring being buried. Grand Island can take this time to enhance not only the solar law, but to also make the review and approval process more comprehensive and formal, and to better involve advisory boards such as the Conservation Advisory Board. For example, if before a special use permit is even approved by the town board for an industrial solar project, documents submitted by the solar developer must be thoroughly reviewed and verified accurate, not only by engineering and code department standards, but also by the planning and the conservation advisory boards. Such a revised pre-approval process could include such review of following developer documents, such as a completed and final wetland delineation study, look at the current, accurate, and on-site environmental assessment of habitats that are present on the land, as well as specific plant and animal species that are actually present. A pre-approval process should review the land and soil in conjunction with reviewing Grand Island and Erie County agricultural districts and farmland protections. And there should be a pre-approval process that reviews the developer documents of a stormwater management plan that is comprehensive and based on the types of soils and lands, the acreage and number of solar panels, as well as the assessment of the scale and scope of erosion and runoff potential. As industrial solar projects typically take up dozens of acres, they change the green spaces of the island. And as a result, having a comprehensive analysis of the project scale and scope is important. It's also important to have community input on the solar projects, and most especially from the neighborhoods in which industrial sized solar will be located. Larger sized projects in New York State require interaction with the public, and though solar arrays of such scale may not be the type submitted to Grand Island, An important addition to the island review process can be to enhance the community discussions and input in order to achieve a project that works to preserve the nature, beauty, and character of island neighborhoods and lands. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave Riley, do you still wish to speak?
I do. Thank you. So three comments that I wanted to make. First off, I strongly support the moratorium. And I think anytime that we take a step back and reflect on the development that we're doing and the process by which we're doing that is well worth the time. And so, you know, purely on the basis of as a theoretical construct, I think this is a really important thing. Secondly, though, I think it's critical that we use that time wisely. Assuming that this moratorium passes, I hope that the town board will take the time to consolidate studies, reports, and recommendations, that they will work with the advisory boards, that they will work with all of the documents that we have been gathering, whether that's the information on green space on the island, whether it's the comprehensive plan, whether it is the Economic Development Advisory Board's forthcoming document on this topic. All of those things should be brought together into a comprehensive consolidated study. And in conjunction with that, I think it's critical that we revise town zoning. So in one sense, I would suggest that we think of this in a bigger scope, that we think about how this particular step back for a moratorium on solar could also be an opportunity to think about what we're doing in terms of the comprehensive plan. I remember when the comprehensive plan was passed by the town board, I spoke at that meeting, and the comment that I made, and I think it's still very relevant, is that the usefulness of that comprehensive plan is only as good as what follows next, the next steps that are taken. And by that, I mean turning that comprehensive plan from a document into something that actually becomes useful for the town. And I still think that's a process that needs to be engaged in. I don't think we're there yet. And I think the town board is taking the right step to do that. The third is, I strongly recommend that the town board put an immediate stop to all projects. I understand what a moratorium is, but I think that should also include the 2356 Whitehaven project with Baywa, as well as Emory and any of the others. With all due respect to Mr. Thompson, I recognize that this could be an inconvenience, but for any company or for an individual who's not willing to wait for 3, 6, 9 months or a year to make sure that we're doing the right thing for the town, I think we should be very wary of those companies. I think we should ask ourselves, are they the types of businesses that we want to bring to the island if they're not willing to take the time to go through a process that benefits us and that we recognize is for the benefit of the people of Grand Island. So I thank you for taking this step. I strongly encourage you to move forward with the moratorium. And thanks for the time to speak.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Ms. Kathy Rahill.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
It's a little soft, but we can adjust on our end.
Hopefully that's better.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
So I second Mr. Riley's comment in support of the moratorium. I do think it's worthwhile for the town to sit back. Solar energy is a fairly new thing. And because of the mandate to get to renewable energy in New York, we've seen an increased pace of these projects going on around the region. And I think some of our neighbors and other communities are beginning to learn more and more as these projects go up. And I think it would be worthwhile, in addition to what Mr. Riley said we should look at, that we also look at what other communities are doing in terms of their solar laws and see if there's anything worthwhile there. Two things in particular that I would point out. One is in the Lewiston law. I found it very interesting and would encourage the board to consider the fact that the decommissioning of inactive solar arrays, that the landowner themselves should take some responsibility for that. I thought that was an interesting portion of their law. As well as, given that Grand Island is an island, and we have stated in our comprehensive plan that we value green space, that we consider some kind of maximum whether that's a kilowatt maximum or some kind of green space acreage maximum that we would allot to these types of arrays, I think would be a worthwhile benefit to the island. So I'm very supportive of the moratorium. I would encourage you to go ahead and study this more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahill.
Mr. Trippy?
Yep. Are you able to hear me?
We can.
Yes, we are.
All right. So I, like all the previous speakers, am in favor of a moratorium, as I've talked about it for the last year. I think my frustration, obviously, I live with a solar field in my backyard. I'm involved with a lawsuit against the town of Grand Island because of said solar field in my backyard. I can't understand why the current town board is not enforcing the laws and policies that currently exist on our books right now. We don't enforce the design, special use permits aren't taken care of, and we continue to let the dog tail wag the dog instead of the dog wagging its own tail here. Why a moratorium is needed? Obviously, there's a number of problems exist. There's a lawsuit pending. You continue to not learn from previous mistakes. So on the Elvin Road property, you approve a project that not a single person spoke in favor of, but moreover, there's no screening drawing. And because of the drawing that was submitted for the 1611 Whitehaven Road property that showed no screening, the developer says you approve a project with no screening, I'm not going to put it in. So you have allowed the same company, Borrega, to allegedly now submit a drawing and not have all the paperwork. The job has to match the submitted drawings. And so when it shows underground wiring, it can't go to poles. It has to show the conditions. So let's take the solar field behind me. The drawing showed underground, they put poles in. No drawing showed removing 18 acres of trees. There's no enforcement that goes on here, and it's been terrible. Some of the suggestions that I would make, because I was actually involved in some of the meetings with Lewiston for their planning. If you clone the majority of their new laws, applications are very then concise on what is needed. You have to have complete seekers, which we're not doing. There's no screening requirements. The solar law obviously needs to be looked at hard. And I guess the biggest suggestion that I would be making is I feel an outside firm or an outside company should do the plan review for anything that is submitted in the future, because obviously the current board members, being planning board, town board, and then engineering and building, are not thoroughly looking at these projects, because you continue to push projects through that have incomplete sets of drawings, and you're ending up in lawsuits, and this should not be something that should happen. Solar companies should have to follow the same laws that I do. So when I submit a drawing, if the drawing shows A, B, C, and D, I have to put that in. But the company Solar has been deviating, and there's no enforcement. So I guess I'm asking the town to enact a moratorium. I think 6 months might be even a short time frame, as Lewiston took 14 months. Wheatfield, the end of the month, is proposing a year-long moratorium. Try not to rush this through. Maybe be a little more thorough this time, so we don't continue to end up in lawsuits. In my case, you have forever ruined where I live. So with the solar field behind me, you've ruined what I've done, and I guess I'm trying to make sure this doesn't happen to other people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Andy Melka, you can unmute.
Yes, thank you, board, for having me here tonight and listening to all the input here. Following on what Mr. Trippy said, we have committed to, I first want to make clear, I am not in support of the moratorium. And I think specifically as it applies to projects that are currently in the process. And I think it's also important to recognize that Lewiston, when they passed the moratorium back in November of 2019, they specifically approved one or more solar projects on the exact same night, because they knew it was important not to prevent projects that were already in the process from proceeding. And they saw it was the right thing to do to let those projects proceed. Back to what Mr. Trippy was saying, if there are problems or things that are not enforced because they were not made commitments, then that's something that can be resolved through the existing process that the town has in place. Many of the concerns that I heard tonight are part of the existing process in the existing town code, including seeker review, community input, and committing to things in writing. If there have been problems with other projects, those concerns can be addressed through the existing process and don't need to apply or do not require the need for a moratorium. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ben Broder, you're next.
Yeah, hello. My name is Ben Broder, and I'm with Catalyze Energy. I'm a development manager for the project at 2595 Whitehaven Road. And I want to just echo the comments that Andy Melka just made, and also, accepting that many of the concerns voiced here tonight that we've heard, they are reflected in the existing law, not just in a general sense, but specifically. There was a comment about coverage maximums on a lot. Well, the existing law already limits the amount of a lot that could be covered by solar. I hear concerns about ongoing enforcement of a project's representations that they make during site plan approval and getting their special use permit. And the existing law and the enforcement mechanisms that Grand Island enacted as recently as July of 2020 are extremely stringent. There is a requirement of a decommissioning bond that requires an ongoing surety cash bond by a project owner to guarantee ongoing enforcement and the and financial remuneration regarding that enforcement. There is already requirements that a project be completely screened. A special use permit needs to be renewed every year. So there's just an extremely already existing stringent enforcement mechanism in place, and it needs to be enforced. But that's not going to be fixed if you don't actually enforce it. It's already in the law. And a moratorium will do nothing to change that. But that being said, being reasonable, I think that to follow on Andy's comments, if you have a project that's in industrial zoning, that's already in the process, that's well within the contemplated parameters of the existing ordinance. It's not up against the outer boundaries of it. It's not in a residential zone. Those projects should continue on, and that's fair. And that is the town board upholding its responsibilities professionally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Paul. Paul, if you could provide your last name as well and unmute. Thank you.
It's Paul Yeager. I'm for solar, but I'm really looking for more solar on roofs of town halls, school plazas, covering parking lots. I think we really need the moratorium right now while we look at how to put solar on Grand Island and coexist with wildlife, right? So, we value on Grand Island our green space. It's been said by many residents. It's in our long-term plan. So we need to look at this rapid development that we're having for this new energy. And we agree that, solar's great for renewable source, but cutting down trees and displacing wildlife is not getting the total benefit out of solar that we should be getting, as opposed to reusing, rooftops and things like that. So I think we really need to take a look at the smart way of putting solar on Grand Island, and it may be a combination of many ways of doing it. Rooftops, it could be putting solar fields in like we're doing now, but I think we really need to take a step back, reevaluate where we are, look at how solar's impacting our wildlife and our green space, and see what some of these other places like Lewiston have, and let's do this smart. So let's take a step back, stop for a little bit, and reevaluate, and then continue. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Peter, you're up next. If you want to unmute, you have your 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. Peter Sorgi. I'm on the same project with Ben and Andy. I am an attorney with this law firm of Hopkins, Sorgi and McCarthy. Just a couple of things. One, we submitted a letter earlier today, which the town board can certainly review for itself. But one of the things we did there is we set forth the legal criteria for the enactment of a moratorium. And just to be brief, and this is quoting from the case, it must be reasonable, necessary, and limited response directed at redressing a genuine crisis or emergency. I'm not going to really weigh in on whether or not there's a genuine crisis or emergency regarding your entire solar code as it pertains to land throughout Grand Island. But what I think is very, very clear is that when it comes to our project itself, which is already well into the pipeline, as Andy and Ben were saying, we submitted our application. We have gone through to the planning board. We've gone through to the conservation advisory board. That was one of the comments that Nicole had, I believe, is that, these boards should be part of it. We've already had them be part of it. We've gone through the review of both of them. We have a recommendation in favor from the planning board. But when it comes to our project, it's very, very clear that the concerns that are being set forth townwide don't apply to our project. And my clients have worked very hard to design the project and choose the right piece of land. First and foremost, there's absolutely no clear cutting on our project. And that's very important to understand. We also, it's not zoned residentially, it's zoned M1. We've addressed the dimensional requirements. The setback is over 300 feet from any nearby residences, which are zoned M2, and that's important. It is behind an existing storage facility and cell tower. It's not on prime agricultural land. We submitted the soil types. It's poorly drained with clay, right near the surface. And we do have a full decommissioning plan. So, what we're asking is really not to be a part of the moratorium. And that is what Lewiston did, as Andy said. A couple things I wanted to comment on some of the speakers. Nicole went through a whole list of things, and I agree, all those things should be looked at. But guess what? They're already in the town code. If they're not in the town code, they're part of seeker. Each and every one of these things, erosion projections, wildlife, habitats, storm water, green space, all of those things are part of the seeker forms, part of your process, or part of other government entities like the DEC process. One thing I mentioned on green space as well, our property is zoned in a manner by which it could become a lumberyard, it could become a car sales lot, none of which should be covered by the moratorium. So just because you're trying to defeat this does not mean that there couldn't be a different project there. So it's not going to be staying green space.
We're at time, Mr. Sorgi.
3 minutes, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, sir.
We believe Michael Rayhill is our last commenter for this section of our meeting.
Good evening. I would just like to commend the town board for introducing the moratorium on solar development. I think that, since the comprehensive plan was issued, like Mr. Riley stated, there's been a great need for a marriage between an alignment between that document and its implementation and enforcement. And I think there are some kind of vague ideological concepts that have yet to be fully made part of that process, including really qualifying each proposed development as it relates to the character of our town. And I think a big part of that is assessing the intent of a project and also looking at the possibility for the precedent that it will ultimately create. And like Mr. Riley stated, there's a great, boom in solar development for New York State in particular. But I think the reason for this pause is to simply align the intent of the town, the core values of the town with how our projects are being developed. And I think it's a worthwhile process to wait for ultimately. So I thank the town board for taking a more holistic approach to responsible development for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have one more speaker, Mr. Patrick Brown. If you'd like to unmute, you have your 3 minutes.
Yes, hello, town board. Thank you for taking my call really late right now. I was informed by our consultant, Kristen, with Advanced Design, that this was going on. I just want to make sure that whatever happens here tonight, that doesn't affect any projects that have already been approved by this town board. I will talk selfishly. I mean, we've made a substantial investment in the town of Grand Island. We are landowners in the town of Grand Island. We're over $1.5 million invested in this project. And we just want to make sure, maybe these new rules go into effect for new projects coming in, but projects that are existing like ours, that we just went through this rigorous process over the last year, are not subject to any kind of moratorium. That would be my request. And that's all the comments I have. I'm available for any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last call. Anybody else out there?
For the third and final time, anyone else wishing to speak on the public hearing on local law number 14, intro number 14 of 2020? I declare the public hearing closed. Next item on our agenda is minutes. There's 2 items on that. Approve the minutes of workshop meeting number 49 from December 21st, 2020, and approve the minutes of regular meeting number 23 from December 21st, 2020. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
No, hang on.
You're good. Well, no, I want to find out what we're doing with this more, with what we're going to do with this. You just closed the
public hearing.
I know, but are you going to table it? Are you going to
Refer
refer
it
to?
back to the town board. Yeah.
Then we should make a motion.
I'm sorry.
To do that.
Let me back up a little bit with respect to the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to refer this back to the town board.
So moved.
Motion by Pete Marston.
Second.
Second by Mike Madigan.
Thanks.
Any discussion?
And that's just because we're getting the final approval through Erie County and it should be in effect soon.
Well,
Barring a vote,
it will require a
be made.
vote of the
Yes.
town board.
Let me rephrase
We're,
that.
we're waiting
Yes.
back for seeker.
Just so people
documentation.
knows that there is a reason for the delay, so we're still working on it.
The 239M referral form. Roll call.
Marston,
Aye.
Madigan,
Aye.
Bainey,
Aye.
DeGatti,
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Back to the minutes. Entertain the motion to approve the minutes as read previously.
So moved.
Motion by John Boehny,
Second.
second by Tom DeGatti. Any discussion? Roll call.
Bainey,
Aye.
DeGatti,
Aye.
Madigan,
Aye.
Marston,
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Tonight, the consent agenda has 2 items. The first item is the Zoning Board of Appeals 2021 application deadlines and meeting dates, and the meeting minutes from the Conservation Advisory Board from November 19th, 2020. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mike Madigan,
Second.
second by Jen Boehny. Any discussion on that? Roll call.
Madigan,
Aye.
Bainey,
Aye.
Marston,
Aye.
DeGatti,
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Item number 8 is the 2021 reorganization. Please bear with me. I believe there's 44 items to be discussed.
Have a glass of water first.
The following items concern the organization of the town of Grand Island for the coming year. Unless otherwise noted, all individuals are from Grand Island. At the end, I will entertain a motion to adopt these items as presented. Number 1, to hereby reappoint the law firm of Hodgson Russ LLP, Peter C. Godfrey Esquire of Council as attorneys for the town of Grand Island for the year 2021. Number 2, to adopt the resolution regarding method of assessment for consolidated water districts and method of assessment for consolidated sewer districts as attached. Number 3, to adopt the resolution regarding method of assessment for lighting districts, that all costs shall be apportioned against the properties in all districts in the town of Grand Island based upon the frontage of said property as attached. Number 4, to designate Supervisor John Whitney as budget officer for the town of Grand Island for the year 2021. Number 5, to appoint Supervisor John Whitney as a liaison to and police commissioner of the the Grand Island Police Department for the year 2021. Number 6, to reappoint Greg Butcher as Deputy Emergency Services Coordinator for a 1-year term expiring December 31st, 2021. Number 7, to set the mileage reimbursement rate at the IRS standard mileage rate of 56 cents per mile to be allowed by town officials when performing duties for the town of Grand Island during 2021 as per IRS guidelines. Number 8, to designate the Island Dispatch as the official newspaper of the town of Grand Island for the year 2021. Number 9, to designate Manufacturers and Traders Trust, MBIA Class, and JP Morgan Chase Bank as depositories for the town of Grand Island for the year 2021, in which a supervisor and town clerk shall deposit all monies coming into their hands by virtue of their office, and furthermore, that the town clerk be directed to deposit tax monies in the Manufacturers and Traders Trust Company Grand Island office, said tax money to be remitted to the supervisor at least once each week. Water, wastewater, and general receipts are to be remitted to the supervisor daily. All other funds of the clerk are to be deposited with the supervisor no later than the 15th of the following month. Said depositories are hereby requested, authorized, and directed to honor checks, drafts, and other orders for payment of money drawn in the name of the town of Grand Island, including those payments to the individual order of any person or persons thereof when bearing the and purporting to bear the facsimile signature of John Whitney, supervisor of the town of Grand Island. The Manufacturers and Traders Trust Company, MBIA Class, and JP Morgan Chase Bank shall be entitled to honor and to charge the town of Grand Island for such checks, drafts, and other orders, regardless of by whom or by what means the actual purported facsimile specimen duly certified to or filed with the Manufacturers and Traders Trust Company, MBIA Class, and JP Morgan Chase Bank by the town of Grand Island. Number 10, to adopt the town of Grand Island fee schedule as submitted by the department heads for the year 2021. Number 11, to designate the town attorney and Susan Seifert as harassment complaint officers for the year 2021 as required by the Human Resources Policy and Procedures number 4. Number 12, to designate Peter Marston as the fair housing officer for the year 2021. 13, to adopt the attached investment policy and attached procurement policy for 2021. Number 14, to authorize the payment to the New York State Office of the Controller Justice Court Fund upon receipt of the monthly invoice from their office. The town justice turns over the funds collected by their office by the 10th of the month following the 10th of the month, the funds that are paid to them. The New York State Office of the Controller then bills the town for the state and county share of these funds within the following week. Sending our payment to the state upon receipt of their invoice will avoid any delays caused by our audit date and ensure that the state and county receive their funds in a more timely fashion. Number 15, all town offices are authorized to be closed in observance of the following holidays as set forth the various bargaining units. That's in your packet. I'm not going to read each holiday. Number 16, to the supervisor, to authorize the supervisor to set the payroll date as every other Thursday commencing January 14th, 2021. Number 17, to authorize the petty cash funds for the year 2021 is listed in your packet. Number 18, to adopt the attached continuing disclosure compliance procedures and attached post-issuance tax compliance procedures for tax exempt bonds and notes for 2021. Number 19, to adopt the attached non-union salary schedule, elected officials salary schedule, and part-time seasonal salary schedule for the year 2021. Number 20, to schedule town board meetings to be held the first and third Monday of each month at 8:00 p.m. and a regular meeting that falls on a holiday will be held on a Tuesday of that week. Workshop meetings will be held on the first and third Monday of each month at 6:30 p.m. or Tuesday if Monday is a holiday. The town clerk is directed to post notice of all regular and workshop meetings. Number 21, to authorize payment to the designated utility and health insurance companies upon receipt of their monthly payments. Number 22, to appoint the following personnel as representatives of the Upstate New York Municipal Workers' Compensation Plan for the year 2021. Voting member Pamela Barton, alternate voting member John Whitney, facilitator Richard Crawford. Number 23, to authorize the supervisor to renew the town's membership with the following associations for the year 2021. Association of Erie County Governments, New York State Government Finance Officers Association, New York Planning Federation, and the Association of Towns of New York State. 24, to designate John Whitney as a delegate, Tom DeGatti as the alternate delegate at the Virtual Association of Towns Annual Meeting. Number 25, to audit on the first and third Monday of each month or the following Tuesday if a holiday falls on that Monday. Bills drawn against the following funds: capital reserve, fire, general, highway, lighting, districts, refuse, sewer, and water. Number 26, town hall office hours for the year 2021 are as follows: January 1st through December 31st, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Closed on all designated town holidays. Special hours for tax collection to be determined by the town clerk. Number 27, to set the 2021 sewer rents for the town of Grand Island at $5.20 per 1,000 gallons of water usage. Number 28, to appoint to the Agricultural and Farmland Advisory Board Sheila Dominski, Chris Beyer, Thomas Thompson, Thomas Franz, and James Sharps for 5-year terms expiring December 31st, 2025. Number 29, to the Architectural Review Advisory Board to reappoint Amy Stockinger for a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2022, and appoint Michael Oakes to a 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2025. To the Board of Assessment Review, reappoint James Zacax for a 5-year term expiring September 30th, 2025, and appoint Vienna Hawk as an alternate for a 1-year term expiring September 30th, 2021. To reappoint to the Board of Ethics, Kimberly M. McMahon for a 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2025. Number 32, to reappoint to the Conservation Advisory Board, Jeffrey Green, Edward Standor, Suzanne Tompkins for 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2025. Gerald Satarski and Elizabeth Zilbauer for a 1-year term expiring December 31st, 2021. Number 33, to reappoint to the Economic Development Advisory Board, Jennifer Parisi and Robert Zelinski for 3-year terms expiring December 31st, 2023. Jen Pussatier and Gary Resch as alternates for a 1-year term expiring 2031, or I'm sorry, good grief, expiring December 31st, 2021. Number 34, to appoint to the Historic Preservation Advisory Board, Joseph Macaluso, Historical Society, for a 4-year term expiring December 31st, 2024. Jody Robinson, Town Historian, for a 1-year term expiring December 31st, 2021. Number 35, to appoint to the Human Rights Commission, Robin Pulliam, to a 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2012, and Megan Carey as an ad hoc member pending revision of Chapter 56 of the Town Code. Number 36, to appoint as a library trustee, Richard Crawford, for a 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2025. Number 37, to appoint to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Lisa House, for a 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2022. Michelle Lockett, to a vacant term expiring December 31st, 2025. Matthew File, to a vacant term expiring December 31st, 2023. Bev Kinney and Jen Pussatier as alternates for a 1-year term expiring December 31st, 2021. To reappoint to the Planning Board, Robert Starzinski, for a 7-year term ending December 31st, 2027. Brad Bowman and Jeremy Pagoda as alternates for 1-year terms expiring December 31st, 2021. To reappoint to the number 39, to reappoint to the Technology Advisory Board, Paul Roeder and Taylor Kaufman for a 7-year term expiring December 31st, 2027. Ryan McDonald is replacing Mike Lockett for a term expiring December 31st, 2026. Ethan Hubert as an alternate for a 1-year term expiring December 31st, 2021. To reappoint to the Traffic Safety Advisory Board, John Burns, Gary Tollner for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2023. Eric Thompson to a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2022. Daniel Buccini and Frank DeGeorge as alternate members pending town code updates. And number 41, to reappoint to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Robert Mesmer, for a 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2025. Dan Drexilius as an alternate member for a 1-year term expiring December 31st, 2021. And then we have the board committees and liaison,
Do that motion first.
which I don't have in front of me.
We'll do that motion.
What's that?
Make the
This one,
motion.
make them.
Make the motion, all right. Okay, so a motion is ordered to make the stated reappointments and appointments as read.
So moved.
Second. Did you make it?
Tagati.
Motion by Tom Tagati, second by Pete Marston. Any discussion? Roll
One
call.
term. The one term is 2.
Yeah, the one term you read 5. It's from his house for Parks and Rec. It's 2. You had the date right, the expiration date.
I'm sorry.
But other than that,
Perfect.
I need a drink of water. Roll call.
Tagati.
Aye.
Marston.
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
Bainey.
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye.
Said,
Okay,
are we almost done?
we have the reorganization of supervisors appointments.
It's several pages.
Right.
2.
We have the following reorganization items concerning reappointments by the supervisor. They are for your information only, require no action by the town board to serve on the audit committee for 2021, Councilwoman Chairman Jen Bainey, Councilman Tom Tagati. To serve as special districts for committee for 2021, Chairman is the town engineer Robert Westfall. At the wastewater plant, Chief Plant Operator Ian James and Working Crew Chief Michael Brown. At the water plant, Senior Plant Operator Cody Clark, Working Crew Chief Justin Breidenbaker, Town Board Liaison Supervisor John Whitney, and Councilperson Pete Marston. To serve on a Sidewalk and Bike Path Committee, I'm not going to read all these. So we have the names that are in your packet. Again, serve on a Long Range Planning Committee for 2021. The names are in your packet. And to serve on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan Committee for 2021. Members who serve a one-year term of pleasure as supervisor will meet at least semi-annually, again, in your packet. Number 6, the service liaisons between the town board and advisory boards for 2021. Those names are listed in your packet. To serve as liaisons between the town board and town departments, again, they're in your packet. And to serve on the personnel committee for 2021, it's John Whitney as a supervisor, town accountant Pam Barton. Number 9, to reappoint Ryan DeDeal as secretary to the supervisor for 2021. Appointment is per non-union salary schedule, grade 6B. Number 10, to appoint Peter Marston as deputy supervisor for 2021. Again, these are for informational purposes only, require no action by the town board. Communications from the town board from Supervisor John Whitney. Authorize a supervisor to sign the janitorial contract. In your packet, we have a contract from Bob's Best Way Cleaners in there, and we discussed this at the workshop. I'll entertain a motion to approve authorizing the supervisor to sign the contract.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mike Madigan, second by Pete Marston. Any discussion?
No.
Roll call.
Madigan.
Aye.
Marston.
Aye.
Bainey.
Aye.
Tagati.
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for on-site employee testing. This is for drug testing for our employees. In your packet, you'll find the updated contract pricing, scope of services, certificate of insurance, DOT compliance certificate. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract.
So moved.
Motion by Jen Bainey,
second.
second by Tom Tagati. Any discussion on this? Roll call.
Bainey.
Aye.
Tagati.
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
Marston.
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Communications from other town officials, from Town Clerk Patricia Anderson Frenzel. Adopt the resolution for retention and disposition schedule for New York State local government records. And that's LGS-1. Patty, do you want to discuss that at all?
This document is replacing the MU1 schedule that's been in existence for as long as the archives and the retention and disposition schedule has been in existence, but this encompasses the schools as well. And so they've updated it, and we have to adopt this resolution as our records management guidance document.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution that's in your packet.
So moved.
Motion by Mike Madigan,
Second.
second by Jen Bainey. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Madigan.
Aye.
Bainey.
Aye.
Marston.
Aye.
Tagati.
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Item number 11 from the Highway Superintendent, Richard W. Crawford, reappoint the Deputy Highway Superintendent. This is for information only. There is no action required. Richard Crawford has reappointed Norman, quote, Skip Merkel as the Deputy Highway Superintendent for the year 2021.
Great choice.
From the Department of Engineering and Water Resources, Robert H. Westfall. Request authorization to advertise for bids for the asbestos abatement for the accounting office's job number M-69-2020. He's authorizing or requesting authorization to advertise the above referenced project for bids on Friday, January 8th, 2021, and to receive bids on Wednesday, January 27th, 2021 at 10 a.m. local time. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Pete Marston,
Second.
second by Jen Baney. Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Marston,
Aye.
Baney,
Aye.
Madigan,
Aye.
DeGotti,
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Item number 2 from the Department of Engineering and Water Resources is the New York State DOT Grand Island Boulevard Accessibility Project, PIN 5762.27, Nova Site Change Order number 2. The change order takes into account additional blacktop not included in original bid quantities due to last minute changes in New York State DOT specifications, additional landscaping due to the raising of the sidewalk in an effort to improve drainage and by filling of the drainage area north of the driveway at 2090 Grand Island Boulevard for safety reasons. The total change order number 2 is in the amount of $65,685.14 to Nova Site. $20,000 has already been added to the New York State DOT grant agreement, but has not yet been added to Nova Site's contract. He's recommending approval of change order number 2. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Tom DeGotti,
Second.
second by Jen Baney. Discussion?
So John, do you know, and I hate to say it, I didn't get a chance to investigate this one. Have we confirmed there's actually been a change in specifications by New York State DOT?
That's my understanding, yes.
Because I mean, this is a pretty big amount of money.
It,
that we're
it entails a lot more than just there was a tremendous amount of stuff. We sat through probably a 2-hour meeting with them that I attended most of. So they did, we did talk them down off of some things, and
Pete, the drainage area north of 2090, that's by you, right?
no, that's up by.
Because this is the
was-
second
It was
change.
On 1970.
It was on the, right by the, just south of the Tops gas station.
Yeah.
The sidewalk came down, made a 45-degree angle,
that's silly.
and then
Yeah.
another 45-degree angle to go parallel to the boulevard. It dropped into a very large drainage hole.
Yep.
So it was putting in a structure, connecting all the piping and regrading everything so it would be a safer thing should someone exit the sidewalk inadvertently.
And that's different than the first change order then,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
because that sounds somewhat similar.
Well, I just asked because the grant, because I was going to say, I thought a bigger portion of that first one was covered by the state, and it was. So that would explain why the number was a little
Yeah.
lower here.
Part of it's covered by the state, 20,000, but
It's real painful when all these changes occur that are so expensive, you know?
roll call.
DeGotti,
All right.
Baney,
Aye.
Madigan,
Aye.
Marston,
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Item number 13 from Town Assessor Judy M. Tefelsky is executive order to suspend renewal application requirements for low-income seniors. Executive order number 202.83 was passed December 18th, 2020 to grant the low-income senior exemption without renewal application for those seniors who receive the exemption on their 2020 tax rolls.
So moved.
It's
Motion
no-
made.
There's no action.
Oh, it's just no action
It's
needed.
just, I
Okay.
think it's just information only.
Apologies.
Yeah.
No actions required. From the Code Enforcement Office, item number 14, special use permit renewal for Thomas Berkman, 800 Kirkwood Drive. It's a bed and breakfast. The property has been inspected. It remains unchanged. The fees have been paid. I'll entertain a motion to approve the special use permit renewal.
So moved.
Motion by Pete Marston,
Second.
second by Mike Madigan. Any discussion?
Just that's the most perfect place for a bed and breakfast I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is. It's way in the back of nothing.
It's just a great,
Yeah.
great piece of property.
Yeah, it is. Roll call.
Marston,
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
Bainey.
Aye.
DeGotti.
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Item number 2 is a tower permit renewal for Crown Castle at 3078 Staley Road. The fees have been paid. It has been inspected. There is no changes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the tower permit renewal.
So moved.
Motion by Mike Madigan,
Second.
second by Jen Baney. Any discussion on that? Roll call.
Madigan.
Aye.
Bainey.
Aye.
Marston.
Aye.
DeGotti.
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Number 15, Communications General. From the New York Power Authority Canal Corporation funds to help cover engineering studies. This was sent to me and reaching out in response to your July 7th letter to Governor Cuomo regarding Fresenius Kabi and Thermo Fisher Scientific. Our Director of Regional Development consulted with National Grid and was advised that the Public Service Commission approved National Grid to provide funds to customers to help cover engineering studies. Both Thermo and Fresenius Kabi are eligible for up to $50,000 in funding. National Grid is currently working closely with Thermo to provide funding for the requested study. While the final cost of the required study is not known, this will certainly offset most of the cost. Hope this is information that you find it's useful, and it's signed by the Director of Economic Development, Richard Smith. Gail Quinones, President and Chief Executive Officer also. This is for information only, requires no additional town board action. Report of the Audit Committee. Jen.
Make a motion to pay the following amounts from the following accounts. General Fund, $267,422.54. Highway Fund, $1,337.31. Sewer Fund, $13,746.31. Water Fund, $27,170.80. Capital Fund, $8,478.20. For a grand total of $318,155.16.
Second.
Motion by Jen Baney, second by Tom DeGotti. Any discussion on the audit? Roll call.
Bainey.
Aye.
DeGotti.
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
Marston.
Aye.
Whitney.
Aye. Item number 17 is unfinished business, special use permit renewal for Grand Island. There's three items. I'll just read them off. LLC 1611 Whitehaven Road, the solar array project. Adopt the resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign the pilot for Solar Park 4A LLC 2356 Whitehaven Road, and special use permit application for Solar NY Solar LLC SBL 36.00-1-28 Emery Farms 2595 Whitehaven Road Solar Energy Farm. Refer to the planning board and set a public hearing. Planning board correspondence and attorney correspondence. Peter, do you have anything on that one you wanted to add before we were just leaving those on the table? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to relieve those. Those are just going to remain on the table. We don't need a motion. Okay. That brings us to the portion of the agenda, item 18, which is public comments on any item that anyone wishes to speak on. Please hold your comments to 3 minutes or less.
No one's written to us as of yet. If you want to send a signal via hand raise or unmute, please let us know as soon as possible.
I have one more comment if I could make it, please.
Could you just do first and last name, please?
Yes, Andy Malka, Horizon Solar Power.
Thank you.
Thanks again for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to mention that, solar is nothing new. I've heard a lot of comments that, solar is so new, we need to wait and hear and see how things are going. I've been at a lot of these similar type of town meetings and county meetings, and I've heard this very same type of angle from many different people for going on half a decade or more at this point. Solar is not new. It's been implemented successfully in many places around the country. And when all is said and done, solar projects just fade into the background like any other development, like the power lines did, when we first got electrification out in the country, back in the 30s, there was a lot of opposition. This is nothing new. And solar has proven again and again to be a good neighbor and a solid developmental choice of land. It has no negative impacts. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to remind everybody of that again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Brown.
Yes, hello, Patrick Brown from Baywa. I want to echo the sentiment from my colleague in the industry there. Look, we've been through a long process trying to get our project done. I was actually joking with my associate, Brian, who we met before in front of your board and also in front of the planning board many a times, that before this all happened, everybody was supportive of our project here inside of Grand Island. And we just don't want, there's only so many projects that are going to happen inside of Grand Island. There doesn't have to be a moratorium. All right. There's only so many distribution circuits. There's only so much electricity that's allowed inside of this area. I think you guys need to realize, like, it's not going to be a mecca for projects. Maybe one more will squeeze in. That's it. But that's it. It's a good, like the guy before me said, it's a good use. It's a good friend. It's a good holding use. In 30 to 40 years, when it's all over, the land will be rested and it'll be available for agriculture or whatever, residential or whatever you want to use for it. But we have to express that a moratorium doesn't make any sense, right? And I just want, like I said in my previous public comments, is that any projects that have been approved already should not be subject to this. Any projects coming in should have maybe a little bit more scrutiny, but at the end of the day, they're good uses. They're good uses of the land. The land has not done anything for years. So why don't you guys get some tax revenue from these uses now and figure out what you want to do with those lands in the future, and then maybe you possibly rezone them after that. But anyway, I appreciate the board's support on Solar Park 4. It was very hard during the pandemic to try to get it approved, and I really appreciate that. And I apologize for my background, but I was just called into this call really quickly. But I think the town of Grand Island has a lot of exciting things that they're gonna provide. I remember in January last year when Brian and I were there, you guys were doing a video of your Chamber of Commerce, and in your Chamber of Commerce video, you actually showed Solar Park 1 flyover encouraging renewable development in your town to get people to actually come to Grand Island. And I think it's a super exciting thing. It's not going to be prolific and it's not going to be a lot of projects, but I think at the end of the day, you guys are going to be very happy with the projects. And that's it. Thank you very much for my comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll declare that portion of the meeting closed. From the board, Mike Madigan.
Just like to wish everybody a happy New Year's and a healthy and prosperous New Year, hopefully. Hopefully we get past this pandemic very quickly with inoculations and everything else that's going on, as well as hitting herd immunity. And just once again, happy New Year's, everybody.
Pete Morrison.
The only thing I'd like to push tonight is something I've been working on a little bit with the Boy Scout Troop 630. We've had a scrap for Scouts project going. We filled 2 dumpsters with scrap sheet metal and junk metal so far, netting them over $700, which is great. We took on 1 more dumpster. We're trying to go 1 more round. So if you got a new bike for Christmas and you want to throw out your old one, come up and throw it out. If you need a new hot water tank and your old one's still around, throw it out. So it's all for these boys here trying to get through Boy Scouts and hopefully inevitably Eagle Scout, and they cannot fundraise. So anything that anybody can do is greatly appreciated. The dumpster's been at my business, 1970 Grand Island Boulevard. If you can't lift it in, we will help you. We have a forklift. So bring it by. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Jen Baney.
I usually don't draft comments, but I think this is the fairest way and most appropriate way to inform a lot of people about a decision that's very important to me. So I just want to say to the Grand Island residents, it is with both a fair amount of sadness, but also resolve that I want to share with you my decision to not run for re-election to the Grand Island Town Board. Thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to my statement about the decision. With the election reforms that have taken place across New York State, it is essential that candidates declare their intentions many months in advance. Primaries happen earlier than ever before. which means petitions get circulated earlier, extending the length of a campaign season to upwards of an entire year. So while this announcement may seem early, but it's actually very much in line with the election calendar. Serving Grand Island, though stressful and demanding at times, has been an incredible honor. However, I can assure you that I am fully committed to a strong finish in this final year of my term. I am thankful that with this decision, I can solely focus during 2021 on my role as your town councilwoman without any campaign element. I will remain committed to the tasks of the job through the entirety of the year, with ample time spent at the end of my term to transition any new council members to any positions, all with a focus on you, the resident and taxpayer. Though my decision to not run for re-election was incredibly difficult, it was made slightly easier knowing that Grand Island is well served and represented by Supervisor Whitney at the helm. So, it is essential for men and women with integrity, professionalism, a strong work ethic, relative collaborative work experience, and a dedication to the community to engage in our town politics. Please continue to volunteer for our committees and advisory boards. And also, if you have the character and the capacity to serve, not only will I look for your name on the ballot, you will have my full support. My decision is a nuanced one, but genuinely what it came down to in many ways is I do not have time to work well and campaign well. So I'm going to work really hard this year for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Tom DeGatti.
Well, thanks, Jen. I can imagine that that was a terribly difficult decision, but it's been a pleasure working with you, and I look forward to working with you for the rest of the year. And I'm sure the town can thank you. That's all I've got. We made it through 2020. Here's to a better, safer 2021 for all of us.
Thank you, Tom. We did get 2020 behind us. We had a lot thrown at us. We started out the year, briefly, we had an issue with aggressive panhandling. We enacted a law. We've done some enforcement, and we seem to have corrected that problem to a very large extent. Fantasy Island closed. We had a project show up on Long Road that was later announced to be Amazon. We got hit with a pandemic. A lot of those things were very difficult to get through. And I think that now we've had a year under our belt and we can reflect on those issues and we can take them in stride and we can move forward now. We've got a lot of things that we want to do in the coming year. We've got some trail projects that we want to enhance again. We've got some economic development avenues I'd like to go down, and a lot more to come. So we're going to work hard to make Grand Island, it's always been great, but just keep it that way and keep working hard for it. Jen, I'm very saddened to hear your decision. It wasn't divulged to any of us beforehand, well, at least me anyways that I know of. And I want to thank you for taking the time and effort, and I still look forward to continuing to work with you throughout this year.
Me too.
And that's all I have. Thank you. So a motion is in order to adjourn tonight's meeting at 9:11 p.m.
So moved.
Motion by Tom DeGatti.
Second.
Second by Mike Madigan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's carried. Please rise. Tonight we'll observe a moment of silence in memory of Harold Corman, Richard Taylor, Robert Depew, Luis Valenzuela, Edith Wilson, Richard Rozigi, and Wallace Wedham. We're adjourned.